Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're going to be doing another comic book review. Today we're going to be looking at one that I read last month, and I'm just only now getting to review it, and that would be Star Power Volume 1 out of 5, I think there's 5, written by Michael Terracciano and drawn by Garth Graham. And that's actually why I bought this. I saw this at one of my local used bookstores. And at first I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, what is this? It looks kind of interesting. And then I saw the cover and I saw this alien lady here. And I kind of like immediately connected the dots, right? And it was like, oh, I've seen art of an artist that I follow that has the same kind of vibe, even though they're supposed to be like Martians, right? They're like green. And then I looked it up. And yeah, Garth Graham is someone that I follow on Twitter. And it actually has a signature as well in there, so you guys can see down there in the little corner. I asked him on Twitter, hey man, is this your signature? He said yes, and so I got it. I thought it was an interesting kind of thing to kind of just find randomly, right? It was $5 used, but the full price here is supposed to be $20. So I'm not really sure how they ended up with such a low price at Half Price Books. I don't know, maybe it's because it's an indie self-published kind of work, right? So yeah, like I said, the publisher is unknown. It's basically an indie publisher. I think you can get their books on Garth's website or through his website. It takes you to a shop that you can buy from. And they're $20, which is not too expensive for a trade, but also, you know, maybe it's not necessarily worth it. Like, I don't necessarily think $20 for a trade paperback is good, regardless of whether it's indie or not. But it's what they cost, right? So it is what it is. Demographic-wise, is a teen plus title. It's not, gratuitous or anything like that. Like based on Garth's art, you might think so, but it's not. It's I think it's teen plus because of the death and violence aspects that are in this story, right? So yeah, and then the genre here is superhero, and specifically it's like a sci-fi space opera type superhero story. So something like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, right? So yeah, if you're aware of what that is, kind of the same vibe here, right? So yeah, in terms of adaptation, it does not have one, but I could see it being something similar to Invincible, right? Like that sort of same style would be really cool. Since the story is significantly shorter than Invincible, it would probably be done in one season. So I would like to see something like that happen, but it's pretty unlikely that it will, right? So yeah, ratings-wise, this is a 4 out of 5 for me. And the premise is that there's this woman, her name is Danica Maris, and she suddenly gets powers out of nowhere. And this basically starts her down a road of crazy situations, leading up to this big battle for the galaxy that kind of ends successfully. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed this story. I had a lot of fun with it. So, and basically the plot line here starts with Danica and her boss arguing over this like small star that Danica thinks is important and is doing something out of the standard, and her boss doesn't care. She's like, you're not on the same level as me. I don't really care about what you're saying. Move on and do what I tell you to, right? And so Danica does. And later on, Danica watches the same star from her own telescope in her room when it suddenly kind of glows, and it glows so much that there's this kind of big, bright white light that slams into her, and this is how she gets her star powers. And this is more or less like the Green Lantern ring deciding that she is the next bearer, right? That's kind of the same idea here. And then she ends up kind of in space. She can breathe in space through the powers given to her by the star power thing. And she ends up fighting this trio of Void Angel ships who are attacking the space station she's at. And it turns out that they're brought in, and basically the issue is the Void Angels are trying to hunt down all of these things that are like this power source that happens to now inhabit Danica. And so now the Void Angels that have lost to her sent back, data about her. And so the Void Angels leader is going to send a bigger attack towards her to try to get rid of her, right? Danica's boss, the lady from earlier, and the captain of the base tell Danica to hide her powers. They're like, we're scientists and defense force people here, but if your powers get, exposed, the, Confederacy or whatever, like the leadership of this group of aliens and humans that can coexist are going to want to take you in to do tests and turn you into a weapon. Don't show them your powers. Avoid it at all costs. And then her powers, the star power thing, activates, and it starts giving a bunch of exposition about what it is, where it comes from, why it chose her, and stuff like that. And basically, it's just stuff to set up the plot line of the book, right? So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it introduces a big bad guy, and it's quite good. Then later, the Void Angels hire a bounty hunter who has this kind of like McCree vibe to him, Space McCree, or Han Solo or something, kind of vibe. He infiltrates the base where Danica lives, and he starts attacking people. And so Danica has to unleash her powers to stop him. And then it turns out that the Void Archons are coming, and the Void Archons are like the next level in the Void Angels organization, and they're these big battleship things, and they're gonna very easily destroy the base that Danica lives in. However, Danica kind of clearly states, the only reason why these things are so successful is because of their weird technology that they have that lets them hide or like stealth in space, but we are the only time where an attack is going to happen, and we are aware of it beforehand, so we can find them, right? And so Danica and these other people around her manage a way to track these people, even though they have like stealth armor on top of them, because even though they can't be visibly seen, they still kind of blot out light from other things, right? And so you can kind of still track them, right? And this actually reminds me a lot of a plot point in one of my favorite military science fiction series called Black Odyssey, Odyssey 1, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was cool, and it's interesting that there's so many other science fiction things that kind of have the same idea. And it's also because it makes a lot of sense, right? This is how we detect things in space in general, right? So I think that's cool. The big bad is on the move, and Sanctuary 6, which is the base, is ready for evacuation. However, Danica manages to find the Archons in space and heads out to stop them. And then the base decides to switch from evacuation orders to battle station orders. And so they're getting ready to defend their home now that Danica is doing the heavy lifting of getting rid of as many Archons as possible, right? This actually starts the backstory for the main villain. Basically, she's this alien creature who comes from a society that basically lived in between jumps in space. And so they basically existed and had time pass for them while they were jumping from one destination to another. And so there's this cycle of them kind of like being wormholes, or kind of like counting their time and their eras in wormholes. And this lady is the 9th wormhole, and she basically destroyed her people, basically massacred all of them when they wanted to escape. And she got crazy, and now she has an army of robots instead of people. And it's all really fucked up and really interesting. And I quite liked this character because she's just so repugnant that it's quite interesting to kind of deal with, right? So I thought it was cool. What happens then? So yeah, Danica manages to go to the Void Archangel. Then there's this bomb squad thing happening at Sanctuary 6. The villains all fight against each other. The Archangel escapes, and the Countess, the big bad villain, attacks, catches Danica, and then there's this big plot twist revealed, which happens to be that the star power was actually created by the Countess's people, and then turned on them when the users basically realized, oh, the bad guys are, the Countess's species. And so it's a really interesting kind of concept here, because the Countess isn't trying to get rid of a protection force. She's trying to destroy this rogue asset that her people created, right? And so, she's still crazy, right? But there's a little bit more understandableness to her a bit. And then there's this kind of sacrifice, this end, the success, and then there's big nebulous future coming ahead for future volumes. And overall, I thought it was quite enjoyable. I thought it was a fun, well thought out story. The art style is phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. And the storytelling is pretty good. You could argue that maybe there's some scenes that don't really matter, that kind of are just there to kind of pad out the issues in some cases, but I don't necessarily think so. I think that many of those also function to show Danica's character, especially in the first volume, in the first issue. But you could argue that there's kind of clearer, faster ways to do that. And so maybe Michael Terracciano needs to work on that a little bit. But this is quite old. I think it's like 7 or 8 years old. So I'm sure that this writer and this artist have improved quite a lot, right? So this is from 2013. So it's actually, 2014. So it's actually 10 years old, right? So I'm sure that this writer has developed their skills quite a bit more, right? Since then. In terms of characters, here we have Danica and the star power thing. Her boss is Dr. Brightman, who is a lady. And then there's the chief, Grex, and Nurak Nor. And Grex, I think, is the female void angel that works at the station that helps Danica, right? And Nurak Nor is the Countess, I think, if I remember correctly. That's her, and she is the big bad character. And I actually quite liked her. So yeah, in terms of world building here, well, we're kind of in the future. Humans and aliens coexist. There's these Green Lantern powers. They choose this girl, and then there's these wormhole villains, and overall it's good stuff. You know, you get a lot of good world building here. It all makes sense. It's all understandable. And you also get quite a bit of information about how these aliens and this society was created, and more information about the societies that exist in the back of the book here. So overall, there's quite a lot of good stuff here. I really recommend you guys check this out. If you guys can find it, I think you'll have quite a bit of fun with it, right? So yeah, in terms of artwork and fan service, the artwork is pretty good. I really like it. Garth definitely has improved a lot since this release. The stuff that he publishes now is pretty amazing. It's quite enjoyable to look at. And I actually really like this character's outfit. It's sexy, it's cute, it's interesting without being like super gratuitous, right? It's not necessarily like, a bikini. It's still like a full outfit, but it's still, attractive. The one thing is that she doesn't wear shoes. Her outfit doesn't come with shoes, and I don't like that. Not necessarily because I have anything against feet or anything like that, but it's one of the few things about this that kind of don't work for me. It's like I can understand her breathing through space because she has powers, but I still don't like the idea that she doesn't have, shoes. Like, it just feels like that's not a good thing, right? Like, if you're trying to kick someone without shoes, you might hurt your toes, right? And I guess maybe she doesn't have that problem because her suit projects some sort of energy field around her feet, so there's no problem with it. But there's just like a dissonance there, right? Like, I can only remove my need for reality to exist so far, right? And, no shoes kind of breaks that a little bit, which is kind of ridiculous, right? Of all the things I could complain about, that's pretty low on the list, but it's really the only thing I can complain about. It's the only nitpick I have. So, yeah, ratings-wise, like I said, it's a 4 out of 5. I want more, and I might actually have to go ahead and buy some more of this because I really enjoyed it, and I want to see where the rest of the story goes. I want to see where Danica kind of goes from here, right? So, yeah, that's my review of Star Power. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys later.